I wasn't planning to write this. I've opened this stupid app 100 times, typed a few lines, deleted them, closed it again. I don't even know who I'm talking to right now. Strangers? Ghosts? Myself? It's 2:14 a.m. and I haven't slept. I haven't eaten, either. I just keep replaying last night in my head. Like maybe if I watch it enough times it'll start to make sense, or hurt less, or stop hurting at all. I think it started this morning, or maybe it started 10 years ago. But today, something cracked. It was the way she looked at me over coffee, like I was a guest, like I didn't belong at my own mother's kitchen table. That fake sweet smile, the kind she gives when she's about to twist the knife. Or maybe it was what Ethan said the night before, just 6 words. That's all it took to split me open like a damn peach. 6 words I wish I could unhear, but I can't. I keep trying to be the bigger person, to stay quiet, to disappear, like I've always done. But I'm so tired, and I think I need to say it somewhere, before it eats me alive. I got in late Friday night, the kind of late where you hope everyone's already asleep, and maybe you can just slide into your old room without any forced hugs or fake enthusiasm. But of course, they were all waiting. Ava had balloons, I'm not kidding, actual gold balloons that said, "Welcome home," in glittery cursive, like I'd won something. She squealed when she saw me, hugged me like a friend she hadn't seen in years, not a sister who used to sleep in the same bed during storms. Her voice went up 2 octaves when she said my name, CLRE. Look at you, and I did what I always do. I smiled too wide, said, "Hey, you," let her squeeze me like she meant it. I stood still until it was over. Mom was behind her, no hug, just that tight-lipped look she does when she wants credit for not being colder. "You look tired," she said, which is her way of saying I looked bad. I told her I'd had a long trip. She nodded like that was an excuse she was already sick of hearing. The house smelled like cinnamon and bleach. Ava had changed everything, new couch, new art, all curated for her Instagram. The family photos were still there, but someone had swapped out the frames. Now they matched the aesthetic. No one asked me about my job, or my apartment, or how I'd been. They asked what I thought of the centerpiece. The centerpiece. I remember standing in the hallway, my bag still in my hand, watching them flit around like we were hosting a fundraiser instead of just being a family. I hadn't even taken off my coat. That was before I saw him, before I knew, and I still felt like I didn't belong. It happened in the backyard. I was halfway through pretending to care about Ava's wedding Pinterest board when she said, "Oh, he's here," and practically skipped toward the patio doors. I followed her without thinking, like muscle memory. Like some part of me still responded to her energy, even when I hated myself for it. The sliding door opened, and there he was, Ethan, standing like he belonged there, like this was normal, like he hadn't disappeared 10 years ago without a word and somehow landed back in our lives like no time had passed. He was holding a bottle of wine, wearing a navy button-down rolled to the elbows, sunglasses tucked into the front of his shirt like he was still effortlessly cool and totally unaware of it. Ava launched herself at him, literally jumped into his arms. He caught her with a laugh that sounded unfamiliar, lower, quieter. I didn't move. For a second, I wasn't even breathing. And then he looked at me, not a passing glance, not polite acknowledgement. He looked at me, his eyes hit mine like a switch flipped in my body I didn't remember wiring. I felt heat crawl up my spine, but everything inside me froze, like I'd just been seen naked in a room full of strangers. No one said my name. No one made introductions. He just stood there with Ava still in his arms, looking at me like I'd walked out of a dream he never meant to wake up from. And I just stood there too, pretending my hands weren't shaking. I think I smiled, I'm not sure. My face did something, reflexive, like muscle memory from a different life. I think I said hi, or maybe just nodded. I don't know. Everything after that moment blurred like someone smeared their thumb across the lens of my brain. Ava was still wrapped around him like a scarf. She laughed, this sharp, sparkly sound she makes when she knows she's being watched. Then she leaned in and kissed him on the cheek, right there in front of me. And he let her. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Not the way it used to, not the way it used to when he looked at me. My stomach dropped, and I felt cold, actually cold, like my body couldn't decide if it wanted to run or shut down. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe right, couldn't think past the buzzing behind my ears. I heard my mom say something about dinner reservations. Heard chairs scrape, ice clink in glasses, normal life, normal sounds, my heart pounding like a scream that couldn't get out. He sat next to Ava, I sat across from them, and for the next hour, I watched them play pretend, watched her lean on him, laugh too loud, touch his arm like she was staking a claim, watched him let her. Every time his eyes flicked to me, I looked away, but I felt them, like a hand around my throat. And the worst part, the ugliest, weakest, most humiliating part, is that I didn't leave, I didn't speak, I didn't even blink too hard. I just sat there and let it happen. The last time I saw him, we were 19. It was late. We were sitting in his shitty old pickup behind the diner, the one where I used to sneak him free pie when I worked closing shifts. The radio was playing some awful country song we both hated, but neither of us turned it off. It just played quietly while we sat there, pretending we didn't know it was goodbye. He held my hand the whole time, thumb brushing over the scar on my knuckle from when I fell off my bike in 7th grade. He used to say it looked like a comma, said I was still mid-sentence, still becoming. God, he was dramatic. I remember the exact moment he kissed me, the way his hand cupped my jaw like I was fragile, like he couldn't believe I was real. He kissed me like it meant something, like it meant everything. And then he said he loved me, just like that. No warning, no build-up, just, I love you, Claire. I asked what that meant, what came next. He said he didn't know, but that he wasn't going to leave without me, and I believed him. The next morning, he was gone, no call, no note, no explanation. I waited, days, weeks, I made excuses. His phone broke, he was sick, something happened, but nothing came, and slowly, the ache turned into stone. I built my life around that. I played along, of course I did. I helped set the table, poured wine, laughed when Ava made that joke about how Ethan still can't cook pasta without setting off the smoke alarm. I asked him how the company was doing. He said, it's fine, boring. Honestly, Ava cut in before he could finish, bragging about their new penthouse, how it's still being custom designed. Obviously, everyone nodded like they were watching a rom-com. Mom smiled like her job was done. Golden daughter, golden fiancé, golden future. No one looked at me, not really. I was background noise in my own house, a supporting character at my sister's engagement party. People kept saying how lucky Ava was, how perfect they looked together, how Ethan is such a catch, and every time someone said it, I felt smaller, like I was shrinking, like maybe I had imagined all of it. The diner, the pickup, the scar on my knuckle, the way he used to say my name like a promise, like maybe none of it was real except this table, this version of him, this version of me. The quiet girl with the wine glass no one refills. It happened while Ava was telling some story. Something about a spa trip and a rude receptionist. She was laughing too hard at her own punchline. Mom was nodding, eyes glassy from her second glass of wine. Jake was on his phone, probably texting his wife excuses to leave early. I felt it before I saw it, that pull, like heat crawling up the side of my neck. I looked up, and he was staring at me, not politely, not like someone zoning out mid-conversation. He was looking, and it wasn't friendly, it wasn't brotherly, it wasn't anything you'd call appropriate. It was the kind of look that makes you feel undressed, known, like he remembered everything, every inch, every sound, every stupid promise we made in the dark. I didn't look away. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to prove I wasn't the girl who used to blush and break eye contact. Maybe I wanted to see if there was anything left behind his perfect fiancé face. He didn't smile, but his jaw clenched, and his eyes said what his mouth never would. You feel it too. Ava touched his arm then, leaned in to whisper something. He blinked, looked away, and just like that, the moment snapped. But my skin was still burning. Dinner was roast chicken, white wine, candles, the kind of curated coziness my mom pulls off when she wants the illusion of closeness. Ava had set the table herself. She made sure to mention that 3 times. Ethan's obsessed with these linen napkins, she said, laughing too loud. He's such a perfectionist. You should see his closet, it's like a showroom. Everyone laughed, even my mom, even Jake. I smiled like it didn't burn. Then she launched into it. The company, the IPO, the private island they might do the honeymoon on. She held out her hand so everyone could see the ring again, like she hadn't already done it 5 times that day. It sparkled like something plucked off a billionaire's Pinterest board. He lets me pick anything I want, she said, tossing her hair like it was a compliment to him. He's so good to me. Ethan barely looked up, just nodded, like a man trained in the art of keeping up appearances. My fork scraped across the plate. I said something. God, I don't even remember what it was. Something like, that's nice. Maybe I blinked too long. Maybe I held my breath too tight. No one noticed. No one noticed how tight my fists were in my lap. How I couldn't feel my legs under the table. How I wanted to scream. Not even when Ava leaned forward, smiling like she was winning something, and said, "I still can't believe I got him, isn't that wild?" It took everything in me not to choke on the sip of wine I had just taken. I smiled again, wider this time. My jaw ached from the effort. "He's lucky," I said, and I don't know if she caught the way I said it, but he did. He looked up, and that's when I realized his hand was clenched too, under the table, just like mine. The dishes were barely cleared when I escaped to the hallway. I told Ava I was looking for more wine, told Mom I was cold. Told myself I could breathe better if I wasn't sitting there swallowing everything I didn't say. The lights were dim, just the flicker from the old sconce above the coat rack. I leaned against the wall, pressed my thumb into the inside of my palm, trying to ground myself. That used to work. Then I heard footsteps, slower than they should have been, familiar in a way that made my chest tighten. I didn't turn around. I just knew. He stopped beside me. Not touching, not speaking. Then, barely above a breath, "Claire, God," his voice still sounded the same, older, yes, rougher maybe. But there was this ache in it, like it had been holding my name for a long time and didn't know how to say it right anymore. I didn't move. "I didn't think you'd be here," he said. And I hated how soft it was. I hated how that one sentence cracked something open I thought I'd sealed shut years ago. I should have said something cruel, something final. I should have walked away. Instead, I just stood there. "You shouldn't be talking to me," I said. He laughed, but it wasn't really a laugh, just this breath that collapsed halfway out. "I know," and then, softer, like it hurt. "But I wanted to." I finally looked at him. That was a mistake. Because the look on his face wasn't the one he wore at the dinner table. It wasn't cool or collected. It wasn't polite. It was something else, something that made my stomach twist and my throat go dry. I turned away before I could fall back into it, but he didn't move. He just said, "You look the same," and I wish I didn't feel it the way I did. I locked the door behind me even though it didn't matter. No one ever came looking, not when I was little, not now. The room still smells like dust and old lotion and something vaguely floral from the potpourri bowl Mom insisted I keep. It's all exactly the same. The comforter with the faded moons and stars. The bookshelf half empty because I took my favorites when I left, the glow-in-the-dark stickers on the ceiling that don't glow anymore. I sat on the edge of the bed and tried to unzip myself out of my skin. Then I crawled under the blanket. At first, it was just silence, breathing, staring at the pale outline of my old closet door in the dark. But then I felt it, this tightness behind my eyes, like something dammed up was slipping loose. And suddenly I couldn't stop. I didn't sob. That would have been easier. This was worse. It was this quiet, hot, shaking kind of crying that felt like it was happening under my skin instead of on my face. My mouth didn't even open, just tears, everywhere, soaking my pillow, my chest, my throat. I haven't cried in years, not really, not like this. It felt pathetic, embarrassing, like I'd lost control in the worst possible way. I kept whispering to myself, "Stop, stop, grow up. What is wrong with you? Just leave already." But my body wouldn't listen. I kept thinking about the way he looked at me, the way he said my name, and the worst part. The part one can't forgive, is how much of me wanted to hear it again. God, what's wrong with me? I wanted to be better than this. But I curled up tighter, knees pulled in like a child, and for a second I wished I was one, just so none of this could touch me yet. I stayed like that for, I don't know how long, until I heard someone walk down the hallway, until the floorboard outside my door creaked. It's funny what your brain tries to protect you from. For 10 years I've told the story like it was simple, like we were just two dumb kids who hooked up too fast, and he left, and I moved on. But that's not what happened that night. It wasn't rushed, it wasn't careless. It was slow, soft, almost reverent. He took me to the riverbank, where we used to sneak out as kids, where he first kissed me when we were 16. He brought a blanket, a thermos of tea, said he wanted to talk before he left for college. I remember thinking, this is it. He's going to let me down gently, tell me it was fun but it's over. Instead, he told me he loved me. He didn't say it in some dramatic movie way. He was quiet about it, nervous, even. He looked down at his hands when he said it, like he wasn't sure if he meant to say it out loud. "I love you, Claire." I remember everything after that going kind of soft and blurry. We kissed. We didn't sleep together for the first time that night. We already had. But it felt different, like everything in me finally exhaled, like I wasn't alone in it anymore. He told me he'd write, that he wanted to figure things out, that maybe we'd do long distance, that he didn't want this to be the end, and I believed him. God, I really believed him. The next morning, I woke up with my phone under my pillow, I had this stupid grin on my face, like a girl in a music video. I even played one of those ridiculous songs while I got dressed. I remember that, Taylor Swift or something equally humiliating. And then I waited, and waited, and waited. By noon, I checked his socials, gone, deleted. By 5, his mom told mine he'd already left town, drove through the night. No call, no text, no note under my window, just vanished, like I dreamed him. I didn't even cry, not really. I went to school like nothing happened. I deleted every photo. I threw out the necklace he gave me. I stopped saying his name. I buried it so deep I forgot where I put it, until last night. Until he looked at me like, no, doesn't matter. It's the past, right? Except now he's downstairs, sleeping in the guest room with my sister, and I'm lying here wide awake, trying to forget again. I hate myself. I hate that I wanted him to follow me upstairs. I hate that when he didn't, I waited anyway. I hate how my body reacts before my brain can catch up. How one look, 1 inch too close whisper, makes me feel like I'm 17 again and everything's possible and nothing ever hurt. But I'm not 17, and he's not mine. He's my sister's fiancé, my sister. And I'm sitting here fantasizing about stealing him like I haven't spent my entire life trying to prove I'm not the problem. I keep picturing her face. How she beamed when she showed me the ring. How she called him babe at dinner like it was already muscle memory. How she giggled when he helped her with her chair, her napkin, her jacket, little, stupid things, little, stupid couple things. She loves the attention, the performance. She probably loves being the girl with the billionaire boyfriend more than the boyfriend himself. But still, it's her life now, her future. So what the hell am I doing? Why do I keep imagining what it would have been like if he'd never left? What if we'd stayed together? Would I still be living in this town? Would I be married now? Would I be happy? What if I hadn't buried it? What if I'd gone after him? What if I wasn't so easy to forget? I feel gross just thinking it, like I'm the villain in someone else's movie. I don't want to be this girl, the one who resents her sister, who rewatches her own heartbreak like it's a favorite film, who can't tell the difference between memory and obsession anymore. I keep calling myself a good person, but good people don't feel like this. Good people don't keep hoping, and still, I can't help the way my heart sped up when I passed him in the hallway this morning. I can't help how part of me waited for his voice to say my name again. It didn't, but he looked back. She came into my room while I was folding towels, just walked in. Like we were 16 again and shared clothes and secrets instead of silence. God, you're glowing, she said, sitting on my bed like it was still hers too. City life looks good on you. I laughed, too light. It's just dry shampoo and existential dread. She laughed back but didn't really get it, or didn't care to. Ava always laughs at the right volume, but never at the right things. She picked at the hem of my blanket, all soft and frayed from age, then looked up at me like she meant it. I'm really glad you're here, seriously, I missed you. Something in me flinched, because she said it like a compliment, like I was a guest, not her sister, like my presence was a favor. I told her I missed her too. My voice caught somewhere halfway through the sentence, and she didn't notice. Then she started talking about Ethan, again. She does this thing where she says his name like it's already hers, like he's another piece of jewelry. Ethan got the sweetest little Airbnbs lined up for our honeymoon, one in Greece, and this one in the Alps. He planned the whole thing. Isn't he perfect? I nodded. He's everything, honestly, she went on, like, he just gets me, you know? My face did something that made her pause. I don't know what. I was trying so hard to keep it neutral. She tilted her head. You okay? Yeah, I said, a little too quickly. Just tired. She smiled. You always say that, and then, this part is what stayed with me. She reached over and tucked a piece of hair behind my ear, like we were close. Like I hadn't spent the last 48 hours trying not to come undone in the house we both grew up in, with the man I still dream about standing in her doorway like he belongs there. She looked at me with those wide, practiced eyes and said, don't disappear after the wedding, okay? I want us to be close again. I smiled. I said, of course. But something inside me snapped at the word again. Because I don't remember the last time we were close. I remember hiding in bathrooms while she cried over boys. I remember giving her my favorite sweater the night she bombed a test. I remember canceling plans when she called me drunk from some dorm I couldn't afford to visit. But I don't remember her doing the same for me. And now she wants me here, watching her win. I'm trying not to spiral. I really am. But when I went to the bathroom after she left, I caught my reflection in the mirror, and for a second, I didn't recognize the girl looking back. It was late, almost midnight, everyone else had gone to bed or disappeared into their rooms or their phones or whatever version of escape they needed. I was in the kitchen rinsing a wine glass I hadn't even finished. He walked in like he wasn't being watched. Like this was just another night, like we were just two people who used to mean something and now didn't. He moved so quietly. I didn't even hear him until he was right there, leaning against the counter like it hadn't been 10 years and 1,000 unsent messages since the last time we stood in the same room alone. "I thought you'd be asleep," he said. I shrugged, didn't know I had a bedtime. He smiled, sort of, not all the way, just enough that I felt it somewhere in my stomach. He hesitated, then, "Claire, I didn't think you'd come, why would I?" I didn't look at him. "I'm just the sister." He went quiet for a second too long, then he said, "I tried." "Tried what?" He looked down at the floor, then up at me again like it was hard to say it out loud. "Back then, I tried to call. I wrote letters, emails, your mom. She said you didn't want to hear from me, that I'd done enough damage." I blinked. "What?" "She came to my house the morning after, said I needed to disappear, said you were devastated and that the best thing I could do was leave you alone." I just stared at him. I didn't breathe. I was 18 and living in my car. Claire, I had nothing. I thought, if your mom, the woman who knew you best, was telling me to walk away, maybe she was right. My throat burned, because I remembered that day. I remembered waking up and waiting for a call that never came. I remembered my mom knocking on my door and saying, "You're lucky, you'll thank me later." I remember not knowing what that meant. I guess I do now. I swallowed hard. "Why didn't you try again?" Later, he looked at me then, really looked, "Because I thought I ruined you, and by the time I got my life together, I figured you'd hate me, or moved on." I almost laughed, I almost screamed. Instead, I leaned against the sink and whispered, "You don't get to decide what I can handle." He stepped closer, not too close, just enough. "You're right," he said, "but I'm here now." I didn't have a reply for that. I didn't have anything. Because for a second, just one, stupid second, I believed him. I believed everything could have been different, and I wanted more, which made me dangerous again. Mom found me in the hallway just as I was slipping out of the kitchen. She didn't look angry exactly, more like the kind of disappointed that sticks in your bones. "Claire," she said, voice low but sharp, "you need to be happy for Ava, for this family." I tried to nod, tried to swallow the knot twisting in my throat, but she wasn't done. "Don't start anything," she said, like she was warning me about a storm I didn't see coming. "Not this time, not this time." That phrase echoed in my head, louder than anything else she said. Not this time. As if there had been other times, times I'd failed her, failed them, times I'd made everything worse by opening my mouth or stepping out of line. I looked at her, trying to find some softness in her eyes, something to tell me this wasn't just a command, but maybe a plea. But all I saw was steel. I wanted to argue, to scream that I wasn't the problem anymore, that maybe this time I was the one who was right, but the words caught in my throat, because deep down, I knew what she meant. I was the problem, always had been, and right now, the only way to keep the peace was to disappear again. So I swallowed the anger, the hurt, the everything, and nodded. "Not this time," I whispered back, but I wasn't sure if it was a promise or a surrender. Something was breaking, but I didn't know how much longer I could hold it together before it shattered completely. It was just dust at first, a sneeze, a cough, my hand reaching into that narrow, stupid space between my bed and the wall. I thought it was an old yearbook or maybe one of Ava's dumb magazines from when we used to share bunk beds. But it wasn't. It was green, faded at the corners, the elastic band barely clinging on. I knew it before I opened it, my handwriting on the cover in gel pen. "Claire's stuff, private." Like I ever needed 3 exclamation marks, like I really thought anyone would care enough to read it. But I opened it anyway. And God, I'd forgotten how much of myself I used to feel. Every page was messy, emotional, full of me. I was all heart and no armor back then, like I thought love was something that saved people instead of wrecked them. Page 7. He kissed me in the parking lot and I swear the stars looked different after. I can still feel my mouth buzzing. I hope he felt it too. Page 11. He said he wants to leave this town and take me with him. He said I'm not like the other girls. He said he means it this time. Page 15. If he's lying, I don't want to know. I'd rather believe in it one more night. Page 20. I think I love him, not the cute love, the real kind, the ruin me kind. Page 34. I'll never love anyone else again. If he's gone, I'm done. I swear I'm done. I stopped breathing after that one. My hands felt numb. That version of me. She was stupid, but she was brave. She believed in something. And I've spent the last 10 years trying to become someone else, someone smaller, someone practical, someone who never cries in public or expects people to stay, someone who doesn't write anything down anymore because why bother? It made me sick to realize how much I still remember, how much of her is still in me, even now, even after everything. Part of me still wants to believe what he said in that hallway, that he tried, that he never stopped. No, 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 we're not doing that. I threw the journal on the bed and backed away like it was something living, something sharp, and I think that's the moment I finally understood, not just what he did, but what I lost when he left. I didn't just lose him, I lost the version of me who trusted people, the girl who swore she'd never love again. She meant it, and I think I've been keeping that promise way longer than I realized. But the worst part was, the journal wasn't where I left it. It was almost midnight, the kind of hush where the house breathes louder than anyone in it. I couldn't sleep, or maybe I didn't want to. I was wandering like a ghost, barefoot in the hallway, the cold tile waking something up in me. I told myself I was going to the kitchen for water. That was a lie. He was already there, standing at the sink, shirt clinging to his back, moonlight making everything look a little too cinematic, like a scene I wasn't supposed to walk into. He didn't turn around, just said, couldn't sleep either, like it was normal, like this was a casual coincidence and not the kind of thing that could split me open. I stood there for too long, forgot how to move my legs, my arms. I just watched his hand tighten around the glass like he was bracing for something, or holding himself back. I found the journal, I said, because my brain was wrecked and my mouth didn't get the memo. That made him turn. His eyes dropped straight to my mouth before he caught himself, just a flicker, 1 second too long. But I saw it. He stepped toward me. I should have stepped back. I didn't. It was so quiet I could hear the fridge hum, my heartbeat, his breath. The space between us narrowed like a held breath, like the universe forgot we weren't supposed to be doing this. He said, I meant it, all of it, back then. His voice was low, raw, like he'd been saving it for 10 years. I wanted to scream, or laugh, or hit him, or kiss him so hard it erased both of us. Instead, I whispered, then why did you leave? He looked at me like that question ruined him. Like he still didn't have an answer that would fix it. I thought I was protecting you, he said. I almost believed it. We were too close now, inches, the kind of distance that feels like gravity. One wrong breath and I would have fallen straight into him. His hand grazed mine. I didn't flinch. He leaned in, just barely. I could feel the heat of his skin, the memory of his mouth, and I swear I was gone already. Then he froze. His eyes flicked to the hallway behind me. Some invisible line in his head, or maybe mine, I don't know. He pulled back. Like he'd touched a flame. I can't, he said, not like this. I nodded. I wasn't sure if I hated him for stopping or loved him more for it. I stood there after he left, palms shaking, lips aching from nothing. And the worst part? I didn't even know who I was hoping had seen. Jake texted me the next morning like he already knew. Coffee, now, no arguing. So I dragged myself out, threw on a hoodie that still smelled like high school, and met him at that tiny corner shop where we used to study for finals and pretend our futures weren't already decided for us. He was already there when I walked in, 2 drinks on the table. Mine was exactly how I liked it, just like always. Too much vanilla, not enough caffeine to actually do anything. He didn't say hi. He just stared at me like I'd grown a second head. You're playing with fire, he said. I blinked. Nice to see you too. He didn't laugh. Don't do that, Claire, don't deflect. I know that look in your eyes. I saw it 10 years ago and I'm seeing it again now. You think you're hiding it but you're not. I sat down slowly. My stomach started doing that thing, that cold fluttery twist it does when someone says something you haven't admitted out loud yet. I'm not doing anything, I muttered, and even I didn't believe it. He leaned in, elbows on the table, voice low and sharp. He ghosted you, left you wrecked. You stopped answering my texts for 6 months after he disappeared. You think I forgot what that did to you? I stared at the lid of my coffee like maybe if I focused hard enough it would all just disappear into steam. You don't know the whole story, I whispered. Jake sat back. Neither do you. That shut me up. He shook his head, laughing, but not in the good way, more like the I'm trying not to scream kind. Ethan Wolf shows up with a shiny watch and your sister on his arm and suddenly none of that matters? What, you think he's different now because he's rich and talks softer? He said he tried, I said, even though I hated myself for saying it. Jake's eyes went wide. Jesus, Claire, he said. You're gonna hang your whole heart on, he said. I didn't answer. I'm not judging you, he added, softer now. I get it, I really do. He was your first everything. But Ava's not the girl you think she is. She doesn't lose. And if you make her feel like she might, she'll make sure you do instead. I'm not trying to ruin anything." He nodded slowly. "But you're not walking away either." That landed hard. He pushed the coffee toward me and stood up like he couldn't sit there another second. "I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm saying it because I've known you since we were 12 and I've never seen you look more lost than you do right now." I didn't try to stop him when he walked out. Didn't even sip the coffee. Because the truth was, I didn't know if I was more scared of losing Ethan again, or of what it meant if Jake was right. She caught me in the laundry room. I was trying to escape for 5 damn minutes. Just fold some towels, breathe, pretend I was useful. I had headphones in, didn't even have music playing. I just needed the shape of silence. But Ava doesn't knock, she bursts. And she started with that voice, the one that sounds like concern, but always cuts. "Are you okay? You've been weird, distant. It's like you're not even happy for me." I looked up from the dryer like she was kidding. She wasn't. So I smiled, that brittle, teeth showing one I've gotten good at. "I'm fine," I said. She stepped in closer, too close, perfume choking the air between us, lipstick perfect, even her messes look intentional. "Claire," she said, dragging it out like I was some sullen child she was tired of babysitting. "You do realize this is a big deal for me, right? Like, can you not make it about you for once?" That hit me like a slap wrapped in a compliment. "I'm not," I said, too fast. "I'm not making it about me." But the way her eyes narrowed, like she'd already decided otherwise. "You've been like this since you got here, off, cold, honestly. I don't know why you came if you were just gonna mope in corners and act like I'm the bad guy for being happy." That word again, bad guy. She always pulls that card first. "I haven't said anything," I whispered. She laughed, actually laughed, "Exactly. That's the problem. You just sit there, being quiet and sad and judgy. And it makes everyone uncomfortable. You don't have to approve of my choices, Claire, but you could at least fake it better." I blinked, my throat started burning. She crossed her arms. "It's always something with you, always some dark little cloud following you around. God, can't I have one moment without you sucking the energy out of the room?" And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the way she said one moment. Like I'd been hoarding the rest, like the world was hers by default, and me existing in it was stealing something. I nodded, bit my tongue, folded a towel. "Because that's what I do, right?" I swallow it, again. My palms were hot, my eyes didn't even sting this time. "I'll be better," I said, and I meant it like a threat. She smiled like she'd won something, touched my arm like we were still sisters, said, "Thanks, I just want this weekend to be perfect." Then she walked out, and I stood there gripping a damp towel so hard my knuckles went white, wondering how many times I've let her rewrite me into the villain just to keep the peace, wondering when the peace ever counted for me. Because something in me cracked, just a little, and the next time she came looking for a mirror, I wasn't sure I'd reflect what she wanted to see. It happened during the toast. Everyone was tipsy on cheap champagne. Ava was glowing, well, preening, and the backyard had that warm golden hour haze that made everything look softer than it was. She clinked her glass twice with the edge of a butter knife. Everyone quieted like she was the damn Queen of Sheba. "I just want to say," she started, already breathy and dramatic, "this weekend has meant everything to me, having all of you here, celebrating this next chapter." She glanced at Ethan, all wide eyes and fake awe, with the man of my dreams, surrounded by the people I love most. Her hand reached for mine before I realized what was coming, and I'm so excited to officially ask Claire to be my maid of honor. Applause, laughter. Someone shouted, "Finally." I smiled. I actually smiled, because my body moved faster than my brain, because I knew the script, because if I didn't, I'd break something, a glass, my voice, her face, I don't know. Ava looked at me with that too pleased expression, like she'd just handed me a gift I should be grateful for, like she didn't just crown me head bridesmaid in the wedding of the man who used to make me believe in forever. I nodded, said, "Of course." My voice didn't even shake. Ethan didn't look at me, not once, not during the whole thing. He just stood there beside her like a statue, his hand on her back like he'd practiced it, like it didn't burn. And for a second, just a flicker, I wondered if this was all part of it, her performance, her punishment, her way of saying you can watch, but you can't touch. The ring sparkled, her smile widened, everyone clapped again, and I clapped too, for her, for them, for the happy, shiny story we were all pretending to be a part of. Inside, I was screaming so loud I swear I could taste blood in my mouth, and when I sat back down, when the music picked up again and someone passed me another drink, I just stared at the glass like it might explain how I ended up here, because I wasn't sure if I wanted to cry, or set something on fire. It was raining, not the cinematic kind, not thunder or chaos, just that slow, pathetic drizzle that makes the whole world feel like it's sinking. I'd gone outside to breathe, just breathe. My skin felt too tight, my dress itched, my head was buzzing from wine and pretending. He found me near the edge of the porch. I didn't hear him until I smelled the cologne, that same scent from when we were 17, that same sharp gut punch of memory. I didn't turn, I didn't say anything. I was scared if I looked at him, I'd fall through something. He stood there for a second, maybe two, then, I never stopped loving you, and the air cracked. Not loud, not explosive, just, gone. Like my lungs didn't work, like my knees forgot how to hold me. I laughed, I actually laughed, that dry, awful kind where your mouth is moving but your heart's begging you not to listen. No, I said, still facing the rain. You stopped, you left, that's what stopping looks like. He stepped closer. I thought I had to. You don't understand. You think that sentence helps me? I snapped. You think that sentence undoes 10 years of silence? He didn't flinch, just shoved his hands in his pockets and stared at the floorboards like maybe they held a better version of this moment. I read your letters, he said. I turned then, sharp. My journal. I corrected, not letters. I didn't send them, I buried them. His eyes flicked up, and something in them shattered. I never stopped looking for you. My hands curled into fists. Then why did you let me feel like I was the mistake? The porch light flickered. Somewhere behind us, laughter bubbled up from the kitchen, Ava's voice, dainty, distant, unaware. He looked at me like he was drowning, like he thought if he said it again, I'd save him. I never stopped loving you, he repeated, like it was a prayer, like it was truth. And I believed him. That was the worst part, because the minute I believed him, the grief hit. All those wasted years. All the nights I told myself it didn't matter, all the versions of me that learned how to be okay without him, dead, gone, just, wiped out in 4 words. I wanted to kiss him, I wanted to slap him, I wanted to crawl into his arms and never come out and scream until he hurt the way I did. But instead, I just stood there, soaked and frozen, and said the only thing I could. You don't get to say that now. He stepped back, just a little, like I'd burned him, but not far enough, never far enough. And when I went back inside, when I passed Ava pouring champagne and giggling into her phone like nothing in the world could touch her, I realized I was going to break, just not yet. We were in the hallway again, same spot, same stupid overhead light that flickered every few seconds like it couldn't make up its mind. I wasn't supposed to be there, neither was he. Ava was upstairs trying on her rehearsal dress. I'd come to get my charger, that was all, just a stupid charger. He was waiting, or maybe he wasn't. But he didn't look surprised to see me. I didn't say anything, just stared at him like maybe this time, if I waited long enough, the truth would come out without me having to ask for it. He rubbed the back of his neck like he was still 17, like time hadn't passed, like he was still that boy who kissed me under the bleachers and swore he'd never hurt me. Then, quiet, almost too quiet, he said, I didn't leave because I wanted to, and I froze. He glanced at the stairs, then back at me, lowered his voice. It was your mom, I laughed, shaky, bitter. My mom? She came to the motel the next morning, before I could even get to you. She told me to leave, told me I'd ruin you if I stayed, said you had a future, and I was just a distraction, a liability. I couldn't breathe, not fully, like something sharp had just cracked open inside my ribs. She said you'd never forgive yourself for choosing someone like me. He kept going, eyes glassy now. She said if I really cared about you, I'd disappear. So I did. I leaned against the wall. I didn't even realize I was shaking until my palms smudged the paint. She said that? I whispered. He nodded. She gave me a bus ticket. I left that night, and just like that, everything I thought I knew about that morning, that year, my entire fucking 20s, rewrote itself. All that time I thought he didn't love me, that he ghosted me, that I wasn't enough. But it was her. It was always her. That perfect, smiling, cold woman downstairs who still asked if I'd lost weight and made comments about my posture and reminded me not to cause a scene. She broke me and called it protection, and he let her. That was the part that wouldn't leave my throat. He let her. You could have told me, I said. I wanted to, he said. I should have. I was just a kid, Claire. I thought I was doing the right thing. I didn't answer. I didn't move. I just kept staring at the banister like it might hold me up better than anything else in this house. And all I could think was, how many other things has she rewritten? How many times have I bled for someone else's version of love? Because this wasn't love, it was control dressed up as care. And the worst part is, I think some part of me always knew. I locked myself in the bathroom, because where else was I supposed to go when the world felt like it was crumbling and no one was looking? The cold tile pressed against my cheek as I sank to the floor, the way I used to when I was a kid and things got too heavy to carry. I tried to fight it, swear I was over him, swear I'd moved on, swear I'd erased every trace of what we had before it poisoned my heart. But the tears came anyway, silent, shaking, unstoppable. I let myself remember the way his hands fit perfectly in mine, how his laugh used to break through every dark corner inside me, the way he'd whisper promises in my ear like he meant them, and I hated myself for it, because here I was, the older, smarter version of me, falling apart over a ghost. But maybe he's not a ghost. Maybe he's the only thing I ever really wanted. Maybe I still love him. Maybe I always will. That thought crushed me, and somehow, it also freed me. Because admitting it, that raw, ugly truth, was the first step to stopping the pretending. But if I love him, then what the hell do I do next? Because love alone isn't enough, and I'm running out of time. I wasn't even trying to eavesdrop. I was just looking for my charger. I'd left it in the guest bathroom. The one with the peach wallpaper and the broken lock that Mom still hasn't fixed. I walked down the hall barefoot, trying not to creak the old floorboards. And then I heard it, Ava's voice, on speaker. I froze. She was in her room with the door half open, sitting on her bed with her legs crossed, a glass of white wine in one hand and her phone propped up on her knee. I couldn't see who she was talking to, but the laugh, that sharp, syrupy one she only uses when she's showing off, was unmistakable. I mean, come on, she was saying, it's Ethan Wolfe, the Ethan Wolfe. Can you believe it? Pause. Another laugh. God, I swear, Claire looked like she'd seen a ghost when she saw him. Priceless. My heart thudded. She wasn't whispering. She wasn't even trying to be quiet. She took a sip of her wine, smacked her lips like it was some goddamn victory toast. It's not like I love him or anything, she went on, light and careless. But you don't let a man like that slip through your fingers. Billionaire, reclusive, tragic backstory. Looks like a damn movie villain. He's a win. You lock that shit down. She said it like she was talking about a handbag, or a prize horse. Not a person. Not the boy I kissed under the bleachers. Not the one who held my face like it was something fragile. Not the one who ruined me with silence and then reappeared like some cruel miracle. She kept going. I just never thought he'd still be into her, honestly. It's kind of insulting, like, what does she even do in the city? Something with books? I forget. Another laugh, this time louder, meaner. I just had to remind him what he could have. Stability, class, me. I don't even remember backing away. My whole body went cold, not angry at first, just hollow. Then it hit, the fury, hot, wild, dizzying. Because all this time I was choking on guilt, on shame, for wanting what wasn't mine, for remembering him too clearly, for reading my old journal like it was some cursed relic, and she was here playing a game. She knew, and she went after him anyway, for sport, for spite. For whatever twisted little competition she's been playing since we were kids and I beat her in a stupid school spelling bee. It wasn't about love. It never was. She just wanted to win. And now she thinks she has. I should have walked in, said something, thrown the charger at her face or at least the wine. But I didn't. I turned back, quiet, shaking, clutching the charger like it was the only thing tethering me to myself. I didn't say a word, not yet, but I think I stopped being afraid of her in that moment, or maybe I just stopped caring what she thought I owed her, because later that night, I checked my journal again. I wasn't even looking for it. I was just trying to clean up, give my hands something to do so I wouldn't go down the hall and say something I couldn't take back, the kind of thing that doesn't just burn bridges but salt bombs the ashes. So I started organizing my old dresser, bottom drawer, back corner, under a crumpled hoodie and one of those cheap homecoming sashes they give everyone who shows up. I found it, the frame. It was cracked at the edge, one corner a little bent, like it had been dropped, or yanked. The photo inside, God. It was us, me and Ethan. I'd completely forgotten it existed. We were maybe 17, sitting in the back of his truck, feet dangling over the edge, my head on his shoulder. I had this dumb braid in my hair and his hoodie tied around my waist. He had his hand on my thigh, not in a gross way, just there, holding me. I remember how it felt, his fingers tapping the beat of some song we both liked, even though he'd pretend he hated it if anyone asked. The light was hitting us just right, that late golden hour warmth that made everything look softer than it really was. I used to keep it hidden, I don't know why. Maybe I thought if I buried it deep enough, it wouldn't hurt so much, like it didn't count if no one saw it. But it had been moved. I know how I left it, tucked under everything. This was just, on top. Still under the hoodie, but exposed, tilted, like someone picked it up and didn't bother putting it back the way it was. And there was a faint smear on the glass, thumb-shaped, too small to be mine. Ava. Of course it was Ava. She went through my stuff. She found the photo. She knew it wasn't just some childhood crush or summer fling or one of those blurry memories that fade out with time. She saw the look on my face in that photo and recognized it. Because she's never had it. She's never been looked at like that. She's never looked at someone like that. She doesn't even know what it feels like. That's what made her want it. Not him. It's the proof that I had something first. Something real. Something that couldn't be faked with rings or rehearsed with smiles over wine. She saw it, and instead of backing off, she doubled down. I put the photo back in the drawer, not buried this time, just there, staring up at me, like it was daring me to finally stop pretending. But the worst part? There was something missing. I didn't notice it at first. I'd tucked the journal back under my bed after that night, the old one, the one with the frayed ribbon and the coffee stains shaped like Ohio on the back cover. I didn't want it out, didn't want it looking at me, but after finding the photo, I don't know, something told me to check it again, like maybe it had more answers. Or maybe I just needed to confirm I hadn't lost my mind. So I pulled it out, flipped past the first pages, ramblings about school and how Ava stole my jeans and how I hated my thighs and wished I was more like her. Stupid stuff. Then the real stuff, the Ethan stuff. And I knew exactly where it was supposed to be. The night I wrote about what happened between us, not just what we did, but how it felt. I remembered the way I scrawled it all out, hands shaking, like getting it down would stop it from slipping away. I remember writing, I think I saw forever in his eyes and it scared me more than anything. But the page was gone, ripped, not cleanly either, like someone tore it with panic, like they needed it now and didn't care if I noticed later. There was a jagged edge where it used to be, ink smudges along the binding, the page before it ended mid-sentence, the page after started like something was missing, and I just sat there, holding the journal in my lap, my mouth dry and my skin burning with something I couldn't even name yet. I knew who took it. Ava had seen the photo, found the journal, flipped through until she found the one thing that proved it wasn't just in my head, that it wasn't a crush or a fantasy or me being too sensitive, again, that he loved me, that I loved him, that something real lived here before she ever touched him. She read it. She read everything. My worst night, my softest thoughts, the things I never said out loud, and then she took it. She took it like it was hers to own, to hide, to weaponize. Maybe, because that's the thing with Ava, it's not enough to win, she has to erase you, too. I sat there for a long time, journal still open, just staring at the space where my heart used to be written down, and for the first time, I didn't feel numb, I felt hunted, like she wasn't just marrying him, she was trying to replace me, and I still don't know what scares me more, what she did with the page, or what she might do next. She was in the laundry room, of all places, folding towels like she was the picture of domestic grace, hair twisted up in that lazy bun she always pretends is accidental, even though I know she checks it in the mirror 3 times before leaving her room. She looked up when I walked in, gave me this sugary little smile like we were still playing house. I didn't smile back. I didn't say anything at first, just stood in the doorway with the journal in my hand, open, exposed, the torn edge facing up. She didn't flinch, didn't pretend she didn't know. Her eyes flicked down to it, then back up to mine. I figured you'd come eventually, she said, like it was a joke. Like this was a game, like she hadn't just ripped out a piece of me and walked around wearing it. My voice didn't sound like mine. You read it. She folded another towel. Of course I read it. I didn't know what I expected, a denial, an apology, a lie I could at least argue with, but not that, not calm. My hand started shaking, and I don't even know what I was holding anymore. The journal, maybe, or just the air, like I was trying to hold on to something solid. That page was mine, I said, quieter now. You had no right. She laughed. Oh, Claire, come on, you really thought I didn't know? And that's when it happened. This weird shift in her face, like she was tired of pretending, like something meaner was waiting under the surface and she finally decided to let it out. I knew it was him, she said. I knew the second Mom introduced us. I blinked. I knew who he was. I remembered you sobbing in your room over him. I remembered the name, Ethan Wolfe. I just Didn't care. There was no apology in her voice, no hesitation, just truth, flat and cold. You knew? I whispered. She smiled. I wanted him. I couldn't breathe. She tilted her head, but more than that, I wanted you to see it. I don't remember sitting down, but suddenly I was on the dryer, like my legs just gave up. You wanted to hurt me, I said, trying to make sense of it. You did all this, just to, what? Win? She shrugged. You always made everything feel so big, your heartbreak, your silence, your deep thoughts in your sad little journals. I was tired of being the pretty one and nothing else. She said it like it was fair, like it made us even. I didn't think he'd still love you, she added, almost to herself. I thought I'd be enough to erase you, and that did it. Because suddenly I wasn't sad anymore. I wasn't confused or guilty or afraid. I was awake. I stood up, slow. The journal was still in my hand. But I didn't need it anymore. You can't erase me, I said, no matter how many pieces you tear out. She didn't respond, just watched me, face unreadable, lips twitching like she wanted to say something, maybe defend herself, maybe twist the knife again. But I didn't stay to hear it. I walked out of that laundry room, and straight into him. I didn't mean to walk straight into him. I didn't mean for him to see my face like that. Red and trembling, fists clenched around a journal with a page torn out like I was 13 again and the world had just cracked open under my ribs. He said my name, soft, like he was scared of it. Claire. I didn't stop, just kept walking down the hallway. I didn't know where I was going, anywhere, nowhere, until he caught my arm. Wait, I turned, and whatever he saw in my face, it made him drop his hand. He didn't apologize. Not this time. He just said, I'll call it off, like that. No build-up, no warning, just that flat, solid voice he uses when he's already made the decision. I'll tell her it's over, today, tonight. I don't care. I'll deal with the fallout. I'll deal with your mom, the press, everything. I don't care what happens anymore. Except this. He stepped closer, and I hated the way my body still wanted to lean into him. I want you. I never stopped. I'm not going to keep lying about that. My breath hitched, and I wanted so badly for it to mean something. God, I wanted to fall into his chest and let him carry the weight of it. I wanted to believe it could be that easy, that love could still mean something after being handed around like leverage, that we could rewind time to the night in the field, under stars we thought would always stay bright. But I just stood there, and stared at him, then past him, at the hallway, at the photos on the wall, at the one of Ava and me in matching dresses, ages ago. At the soft flicker of the kitchen light where our mother was probably slicing lemon for tea she'd pretend was comfort. I don't know if that's enough anymore, I said, quiet, not angry, not broken, just tired. He looked confused. Claire, you say you'll leave, I said, but you should have never been here. He shook his head. I didn't know. Yes, you did. My voice cracked. You knew what this would do. You knew who she was. You saw it in her. And you stayed. His jaw tightened, but he didn't deny it. I took a step back, and another. You're not the only one who had a choice, I said. You just waited until everything was on fire to pretend you didn't light the match. His eyes were wet. I don't think he realized it. He whispered, I never meant to hurt you. I swallowed. But you did. Silence stretched between us, thick and choking. And maybe in some alternate version of this story, I would have reached for him anyway. Maybe I would have collapsed into his chest and told him to take me away, that I forgave him, that love was worth it. But I didn't, because something in me was shifting, not cleanly, not neatly, but enough to know I wasn't his anymore. I turned. I left him standing in that hallway. And when I passed the living room, I saw Ava standing behind the half wall, watching. I don't know how I made it upstairs, or when I decided I'd go, or how I knew that if I stayed any longer, I'd start screaming and never stop. But I remember the zipper of my dress, how it caught halfway, how my hands were shaking too much to fix it, how I sat on the edge of the bed in that half-fastened mess of fabric and stared at my suitcase for a full 5 minutes, trying to remember how to breathe. And then I stood. I pulled myself together, not like the girl who wanted to win, not like the girl who needed answers, but like someone who'd already lived the worst parts and finally decided to stop bleeding for people who fed on it. Downstairs, the house had changed. More lights. More noise, more people, laughter curling like smoke from every corner. Someone had brought out champagne. Ava's friends were all wearing pastel. There were cupcakes with tiny gold rings on top, like this was a bridal Pinterest board and not the scene of something rotting. I found my mother first. She was near the window, telling some neighbor how lucky we all were. Her face lit up when she saw me, but she didn't look close enough to notice the crack in it. Maybe she never has. Go stand by. Your sister, she said, smiling like I was a guest. I did. I walked through the kitchen like it didn't still echo. I walked past Ethan like his eyes weren't begging. I walked straight to Ava, who was holding court near the cake, flushed and glowing and utterly, perfectly hollow. She turned when she saw me. She opened her mouth, maybe to say something smug, or cruel, or soft and sorry and fake. But I didn't give her time. I wrapped my arms around her, hugged her tight. She stiffened for half a second, just enough for me to feel it, and then she laughed, high and sweet like always. You're really staying quiet this time, she whispered against my ear, breath sticky with champagne. I pulled back and looked her right in the eyes, and I smiled, because she wanted a fight. She wanted a breakdown, a scene, a sob story she could retell in rooms I'd never be invited into. But I wasn't giving it to her. I just said, congratulations. Then I turned, and walked out. I didn't look back at Ethan. I didn't look back at the staircase or the hallway or the doorframe where we almost ruined everything again. I walked past the cars in the driveway, past the gravel, down the road I used to take to school when I was 15 and still believed people meant what they said when they said they loved you. And somewhere behind me, someone called my name. But I didn't turn around. I don't even remember buckling my seatbelt. I just remember the sky was pink when I pulled out of the driveway. That in-between color, too late to be evening, too early to be night, the kind of sky that always made me feel like something was about to happen when I was a kid, like magic or disaster. I guess I was right. I didn't turn on the radio, didn't call anyone, didn't check my mirrors for too long, in case I accidentally saw the house still standing and let that convince me I should have burned it down. The road out of town always feels longer than it should, like the trees lean in a little too close. Like they want to see what kind of girl is leaving this time, if she's different than the one who came back. I didn't cry, not once. It was worse than crying. It was that kind of silence where even your own thoughts don't want to be around you, where your body just keeps moving, but you're not in it, not really, just a shell with hands on the wheel, eyes on the road, trying not to remember that just 2 nights ago you almost kissed someone who doesn't belong to you, that someone told you they loved you and meant it too late, that your sister looked you in the face and said, you always ruin my moments, and it felt like the truest thing anyone's ever accused you of. I saw a deer at one point, standing by the side of the road, still, watching me, and I slowed down, like maybe it was some kind of omen. But it didn't move, and neither did I. I just stared at it, and it stared back. And for 1 second I swear I felt like it knew, like it was looking at me and thinking you're not going back, are you? I wasn't. The city lights were bleeding through the windshield by the time I blinked again. I didn't park right away. I just sat there in front of my building, fingers still curled around the wheel, head tilted back against the seat. The silence inside me was so loud, it hurt. And somewhere deep under all that stillness, something started whispering, you made it out, but now what? I'm sitting here, fingers hovering over the keyboard, and honestly, I don't know what I expected when I started this. Maybe I thought writing it all down would fix something, make sense of the mess. But the truth is, I don't know if I'm good or bad for walking away, for not yelling, for not begging, for just leaving. I keep hearing Ava's laugh, like it's echoing somewhere I can't reach, and Ethan's eyes when he said he wanted me but couldn't. I'm still tangled up in all of it, more than I want to admit. But somewhere under all this guilt, I found a quiet space. A sliver of something like peace, maybe because, for the first time in years, I finally chose me, not my past, not their expectations, not the version of myself that ghosted and got ghosted, just me, and maybe that's enough. Or maybe it's just the beginning. Either way, I'm still here, and I'm still trying, because if I don't keep trying, what am I left with? So, this is me, for now, and whatever comes next, I'll face it. But I won't do it alone, not this time.